Hello, my name is Anders. I'm a web developer and a graphical artist. I will deepen my understanding of programming in learning React in 13 weeks. That's my plan. I will also deepen my understanding of JavaScript because I need to do that to be able to understand React. So in JavaScript, I will every week do something and I will share it in video and in my blog, but that's in Swedish, but the videos will be in English. And I will cover the topics like, for example, objects, arrow functions, higher order functions, varlet, const, closures, scope, recursion, functional programming, web API, asynchronous JavaScript, fetch, modules, spread operator, destructuring, and a little bit more about functional programming. All these concepts are very, very good to know when you learn React. At the same time, I will also start using React on a very, very basic level, and gradually during these 13 weeks get more and more advanced, and simultaneously I deepen my understanding about JavaScript. And I will use different sources. I will use video courses, books and articles, and I will do it in this way. I will learn, I will repeat, I will apply the knowledge in small projects, and then I will share my knowledge. I will teach, because I find that's a very, very good way to learn yourself. So I welcome you on this journey to become a proficient React developer. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome. As you might know from my introduction, this is a 13-week project in learning React. And to be able to learn React, you need to know the fundamentals of JavaScript and some other a little bit more advanced things. So I will focus mainly on JavaScript in this lesson. I'm sharing my knowledge, I'm sharing my process in how to learn these things. So first of all, we have this website, developermozilla.org, which is the official JavaScript site. Next one is react.js.org. So React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. As I said, we have to learn some stuff, and I will start with JavaScript objects. Objects is a data type in JavaScript. It's nothing special for JavaScript. Objects are common in most programming languages. Anyway, so you store data in key value pairs. In this example, you see here first name John, last name Doe. So this is the key, this is the value. And it's written with curly braces, and then the property, the key, colon, and then the value. If it's a string, it's within quotes. If it's a number, no quotes. You can also have functions stored in a object. Then we call it methods. This keyword we will not talk about right now. It will be later in this 13-week process. So I've written a little bit code to take a look at objects. Here. We start with a constant and give the object a name, employee equal sign, and then the curly braces. And here, first name. Actually, the naming convention is pretty important. Steve. And then a comma. Last name. Rush. and so on. I will copy the rest to save some time. So here we have one object. And to access the properties, you have to write the name of the object first, and then a dot, and then you choose the property or method. So let's log it to the console. Start with the object name, employee dot, and here Visual Studio Code gives us these properties and methods that I've defined. So let's go for first name, save, and let's open the Chrome browser. Here we have his first name. If I change to age, I will get 60. Okay, next subject is JavaScript arrow function. Functions can be written in different ways in JavaScript, and in ES6, which came 2015, I think, they introduced this very short version of a function. It means that a function can be shortened so that you remove this keyword function. You keep the parentheses, then you have this fat arrow key, fat arrow, curly braces, return, but actually you don't need return either. So this is even more simplified. So hello equals to parentheses, fat arrow, and then what's returned. And this is very often used in functional programming and also, of course, in React. So let's take an example with arrow functions. First, I give you a traditional function. You have, this is also specific for JavaScript. You can put it in a variable. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so here we have function, the keyword. We have this one parameter, and then we have this return. And if I write it with arrow functions, let's copy it again. I can actually remove this word function. I add the double arrow. I remove the curly brace. And I remove the return statement as well. And I remove the last curly brace. So this will give the same result. Let's console log multiply me, and I have to comment this out. I cannot have the same name. So here we have what happened here? Aha, I have to, of course, add a number like that. So 3 times 3 is 9, for example, or 144. Okay, that's arrow functions. Very useful. Okay, now a big topic, higher order functions. Higher order functions is part of functional programming. It's used for arrays, and it simplifies the code a lot. And it's used a lot in React, so if you know it, it's a very big advantage when you learn React, I must say. So here they explain about the forEach method. And this very clearly indicates the browser support as well, which is very important. The forEach method is supported by the main browsers, as you see very clearly. And then they also have example code. And you can try yourself in a small editor. I recommend this. So when you normally loop through an array, there are different loops in JavaScript, but here we use a method instead. And it's a very, very elegant code. I will show you in an example. This is a very common way to store data, and you will find this in applications when the data comes from APIs, for example, or from a database. Is normally structured in this way. So we will use this for all these higher order functions. And then also have just an array with numbers and then an array with cars. So let's start with forEach. How do we write forEach? First of all, if I want to loop through an array, in this case, I will loop through the numbers array. A very simple thing to do is, of course, using a for loop. So we have this array of numbers, and if you want to loop through it, you can use, of course, you can use a for loop. So that's the normal way to do with a for loop. Just to be clear, I just console log the numbers array. So you get the whole array like that. But here we have loop through each item in the array. How to do it with forEach then? Well, let's remove that. And then I'd start with the array. And then forEach. And then I pass a function that I call looping numbers. This function doesn't exist yet, so I will create it right here. Function looping numbers. Then we have, in this case, two parameters. We can have only one if we want. We can have only number if we want. And we console log number and index, like that. So what do we have? Here is the index 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And here are the numbers. And if you just want to loop through the numbers, you remove this index here. And this parameter can be called anything. It doesn't have to have the name of number. You can call it X or whatever you want.